Number 4. The Promise. The stars twinkled in the velvet black night. 1,000,000,000,000,000 stars. Abraham stood outside his tent and began to count. 1, 2, 3. Had he counted that one before? He began again. 1, 2, 3, 4. But soon he gave up. God was right. There were too many stars to count. God had a special plan for Abraham. You must leave your home, God said, and go to a new land. If you trust me and do as I tell you, I will give you a family so big they will be like all the stars, too many to count. I promise. A family means children, and Abraham had no children, but he trusted God and did as God told him. So Abraham sold his house in the city of Ur, and Abraham and his wife Sarah and their nephew Lot packed up for the journey. They took tents with them to sleep in. Every day they had to find fresh grassy places for their sheep and their goats, their cows and their donkeys and their camels. It was a long, hard journey, but at last they came to a new land. If you trust me and do as I tell you, I will give this whole land to your family, God said. Abraham still had no children, but he trusted God and did as God told him. There were lots more sheep now, and goats and cows and donkeys and camels, and it was hard to find grass for them at all. The green valley looks good, said nephew Lot one day. You go there then, said his kind uncle Abraham. I'll move up to the hills. There wasn't much grass there for all of his animals. God loved Abraham all the more for being kind to Lot. Remember, you have my promise, God said. But still no children. Abraham answered sadly. They had hoped and hoped, but Abraham was growing old, and Sarah's hair was grey. Surely it was too late to have children now. Next time God had something to tell them, he sent 3 men to their tent. Sarah baked fresh bread and cooked the visitors a special meal. Before a year has gone by, you and Sarah will have a baby boy, the men told Abraham. Sarah heard, and she laughed to herself. I'm far too old, she said, and so is Abraham. No, said the men, you will have a baby. God says so. And before a year had gone by, the baby came. God always keeps his promises. Sarah cuddled the baby, and he chuckled and laughed, and Sarah laughed too. She just couldn't help it. She was so happy. Abraham tickled the baby's toes, and he laughed too. He just couldn't help it. He was so happy. And they called their baby Isaac. Story 5. Rebecca's Wedding. We need some water, Rebecca's mother called. I'll go now, Rebecca said, picking up the big brown jug and setting it on her shoulder. She had to go to the well for the water. Rebecca sang as she walked, and when she got to the well, she filled the big brown jug to the brim. It was very heavy now, and she was careful not to spill it. There were thirsty camels at the well. They must have come a long way, Rebecca thought. She counted the camels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just then, one of the men with the camels spoke to her. Will you give me some water to drink? Rebecca was careful about strangers, but this man had no jug, and he looked tired and thirsty. Of course I will, she said. Are those your camels? I'll get them water too. The man was very pleased. To Rebecca's great surprise, he opened his bag and gave her 2 gold bracelets. "Please tell me who your father is," the man said. "I need somewhere to stay the night." "My father's name is Bethuel," Rebecca said, and she hurried to tell her mother. "Bethuel?" The man could hardly believe his ears. "My master Abraham has a nephew called Bethuel. Thank you, God, for helping me find him." Rebecca's brother took care of the camels. Her mother gave the visitor a good meal, and then he told them why he had come. "My master Abraham sent me here. His son Isaac is grown up now. The man said I have to find him a wife." It was at the well, asking God to help me, when Rebecca came. She was so kind. I'm sure she's the girl for Isaac. With that, he opened his bag again. It was full of exciting presents for Rebecca and her family. "I must go straight back," the man said. "Can Rebecca come with me?" "Yes," she said, "I'll come." It was a long, long journey, but at last they arrived. Isaac came out to meet them, and Rebecca felt very shy at first, but Isaac loved her at once. There never was a happier wedding. 6. The Troublesome Twins. Jacob and Esau were twins. They had the same birthday, but Esau was born first. He was the first child in Isaac and Rebekah's family. One day, all the good things God had promised to Abraham and Isaac would be his. But God said, "I have a special plan for Jacob." Some twins look exactly alike, but Esau and Jacob didn't. They didn't even like the same things. Esau loved being out of doors, and Jacob liked to stay at home. Esau became a hunter. He brought home fresh meat. The smell of cooking was so good. His father Isaac loved those meals, and he was so always nicer to Esau than he was to Jacob. That wasn't fair. Their mother Rebekah loved Jacob the best, and that wasn't fair either. One day, while Esau was out hunting, Jacob made some delicious soup. Esau came in starving. "Let me have some of that," he said. "You can have some of my soup," Jacob said slowly, "if you let me be the first child instead of you." If Esau did that, one day all the good things God had promised would be Jacob's. "Oh, all right," said Esau. "Have what you want. I don't care as long as you give me some soup. I'm starving." "Promise?" said Jacob. "I promise." So Esau got his soup, but he soon forgot his promise. Isaac grew old. His eyes could not see any more, and one day he called Esau to him. "Go out hunting tomorrow," he said, "and cook me one of your delicious stews. I'm getting old. You are the first child in our family. Soon you will take my place. It is time I asked God to give you all the good things he had promised." Rebekah overheard. What about God's special plan for Jacob? She didn't trust God to work things out. Instead, she played a nasty trick on poor old Isaac, who could not see. "I will cook him a stew, the kind he likes best," she said to Jacob. "You must pretend to be Esau, and quick, and before he gets home." "But Dad will know it's me," Jacob said. "Esau's hands are all hairy, not smooth like mine." Jacob was scared to be found out. "Don't worry, I'll take care of that," Rebekah said. So Jacob went to his father. He wore Esau's clothes, and his hands were covered with hairy goatskin. The stew Rebekah had cooked smelled so good. "Dad, it's me, Esau," Jacob said, his heart beating fast. Would he be found out? Surely that's Jacob's voice, Isaac said. Come closer. He could not see, but he could feel Jacob's hands. Your hands are rough. You must be Esau, Isaac said. The stew smelled so good he couldn't wait to taste it. Let me enjoy this stew. Then I will ask God to give you all the good things he has promised. So Isaac gave Jacob all that was promised to the first child. Jacob had taken Esau's place. He had what he wanted.